Today, there was an incident last night. A friend of mine got into a crash that was on
Yeah.
work in a construction zone. And he was also about 15 years ago, just completely almost devastated his life, almost killed him. He was on a
Mm.
motorcycle and he was also hit.
Mm.
And this goes into the whole Florida move over law. Anytime you
Mm-hmm.
see these lights, I don't care what color they are, I don't care if they're hazard lights. People
Yeah.
need to be paying attention and slow it down because there are lives out there. I get it, we all got somewhere to be, but an incident happened last night where an Osceola off-duty deputy slammed into the back of an on-duty trooper. Now, that deputy was arrested for driving under the influence, and we're going to
Mm.
be looking into that story later today. But today, out on our stream, I'm going to make sure I drive home the severe importance of the Florida move over law and what drivers need to be doing and what ultimately can happen if we don't pay attention. I've had two
Yeah.
cracked ribs
Mm-hmm.
myself from side view mirrors hitting me on the
Mm.
side of the road. Thank goodness for a bulletproof vest, and it was
Mm.
able to help me out. But it's very important not only for our first responders, but for you and me out on the side
Mm-hmm.
of the road.
Mm-hmm.
If we happen to break down, it's just a common courtesy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there is no
But now
grace
it's a
at
law.
50
It's
miles
not
an hour.
just courtesy. It was courtesy. It's a law now.
Right, and you can land almost a $200 ticket if you do something like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
know January was Move Over Month, so we're going to drive it home today at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
ClickOrlando.com, YouTube, and all our streaming platforms. And I know Michelle Morgan is ready for you.
And you said your friend's gonna be okay. I just wanted to.
Yes, he's
You
going to
said
be okay. I was able
okay.
to talk to him a little while ago. I called his wife. He texted me back. He's just banged up, bruised up, but he'll be
Mm-hmm.
fine. But I think maybe it's time for retirement.
Mm. Well, I'm glad he's gonna be okay, Steve. I hate to hear
Me too.
that, but all
Yeah.
right. Thank you. We'll see you then. And I'll check in with Michelle now. Appreciate you.
All right.
Okay. All right, we want to check in with Michelle. She is in for Candace this morning. And Michelle, we've been enjoying looking at the pet photos and things you shared this morning in the forecast. Really beautiful forecast you have lined up for us today.
Yeah, it's going to be another warm day on tap, Bridget. I think we really deserve it. Last week it was just so cold and really did not feel like Florida
Mm.
whatsoever. I think many of us had to find some warm clothes because we're not really used to this weather.
We ran
So
out.
right, we ran out. So again, we're back to Florida weather this week. But yeah, the pet pics are so much fun,
Hmm.
and I really do appreciate all of our viewers sending in their cute, gorgeous pets. And of course, you can send that in on clickorlando.com/pins. And of course, we will showcase them during the show. But let's go ahead and get right into the forecast here so you can plan your day. I am tracking some patchy dense fog across central Florida. In fact, it is actually getting a little worse outside. So if you're about to start that morning commute, just make sure you're taking it slow, allow extra time, and also increase your distance between yourself and the vehicle in front of you. I'm getting some applause back here from Trooper Steve. So again, you just want to make sure you're following those rules just so you're safe and you can get to your destination safe. It's 54 degrees in Orlando. We have winds out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. So those light winds will help mix the fog out as we go through the next couple of hours or so. But look at this map.
There's like
Earlier
a
this
sound
morning,
coming through.
there's barely anything on the map, but you can see we're down to a mile now in Orlando, down to less than a mile in the villages, even Lake County dealing with that thick fog, and that extends along the I-4 corridor. And for now, along our coastline, that includes Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, all the way down to Melbourne, the fog is really not there for you all. Now, because of the dense fog, there is a dense fog advisory in effect for Flagler, Marion, Lake, as well as Sumter counties until 9. So just be aware of that. But your temperatures, it is a chilly start. Some of us may need a light jacket, some of us may not. But we are starting off at 46 in Palm Coast, 48 in Daytona Beach, 53 in Kissimmee, 51 in Melbourne, and 54 degrees in Cocoa Beach. So your forecast for today, we'll see plenty of sunshine when that fog mixes out. We're at 61 around 10, 65 around lunch, and then hitting a daytime high of 74 degrees this afternoon. And yes, we will be above average by 2 degrees. For the rest of Central Florida, Ocala, a high of 73, Wildwood, 72, as well as Claremont, 72 in Mico, 69 in Cape Canaveral, and 71 in Palm Coast. So clouds and rain forecast looking pretty good as we go through today. We'll see abundant sunshine, Through the morning hours, we may see a few high-level clouds as we go through the afternoon hours, and then later on tonight, those clouds clearing on out, leaving us with clear skies. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast. 74 today, 53 tonight, 80 on Thursday. Look at Friday. We'll be above average by 10 degrees. My forecast is 83. And the weekend forecast is looking good. If you are heading out to the Pro Bowl, looking pretty nice. We'll see a few showers on Saturday with a high of 76. Sunday, a high of 79, and it's also Groundhog Day. So we'll see what the thing has to say. And then on Monday, we're in the lower 80s and staying in the lower 80s at least through the first half of next week, Bridget.
Very nice, Michelle. And I'm glad to hear that it's just very low rain chances for the Pro Bowl. I feel like every time that I try to go, it would rain. So.
Yeah, and the forecast is looking really nice. Warm temperatures, light winds, and again, as you mentioned, no rain. So you really couldn't ask for a better forecast.
Yeah, very nice. Well, thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. We're going to check some of the top headlines this morning. We want to head to Tallahassee, where some questions are looming following a big vote by lawmakers. They decided to go against a plan from Governor DeSantis and create their own measure aimed at cracking down on illegal immigration. But the governor is not happy about it. The big question is he could choose to veto this bill or not. News 6's Angie Casada is following the latest developments.
As Republican lawmakers celebrated the passage of the Tackling and Reforming Unlawful Migration Policy, or the Trump Act, Governor DeSantis was on Fox News trashing it.
They named it the Trump Act, so they think by putting the name of a strong president on a weak bill that somehow that is going to pull the wool over the eyes. I can tell you that did not work with Florida voters yesterday. I've never seen an outpouring as negative against the legislature as what I saw yesterday.
The bill sets aside $500 million for law enforcement to assist with Trump's immigration crackdown. But it also got some new additions yesterday, including a mandated death sentence for any illegal immigrant convicted of a capital offense, and penalties for public officials who don't follow immigration laws. If the governor vetoes the bill, lawmakers could reconvene for another special session to override it. But that would require some Senate Democrats to break ranks.
Our goal, in concert with the president, gives our communities more badges, more beds to hold criminal aliens, and a laser focus on catching criminals who violate our laws.
Also in the news this morning, another executive order signed by the president causing some chaos for groups in Central Florida. It freezes spending on most federal grants and loans, something many area nonprofits rely upon. News 6's Mark Lehman explains more about how a judge has blocked the funding freeze, at least for now.
The day's been very busy, but it's filled still with a lot of unknowns.
As CEO of Orlando's Homeless Services Network, Martha R. says her nonprofit is filled with uncertainty. It's happening after a memo from the Office of Management and Budget to freeze funding for almost all federal grants and loans.
Across our system, not just with us, but it could hinder the ability to keep shelters open. It could hinder the ability to pay rent for some people.
President Trump issuing the freeze to ensure federal spending complies with his recent executive orders to bring an end to Democrat-backed initiatives.
It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars.
The White House stressing direct assistance like Social Security and Medicare are not affected. Meanwhile, there are thousands of organizations that rely on federal funds, and while a judge has temporarily paused the freeze, they're wondering what will happen next.
We're very much trying to be proactive and do everything we can do, but we're also trying to stay calm.
Also in the news this morning, President Trump signing another executive order aimed at restricting gender transition treatments and surgeries for minors under the age of 19. The measure seeks to end federal support for any procedures that alter the sex or gender of a child, including the use of puberty blockers. The order covers federally run insurance programs like Medicaid and TRICARE for military families. On his Truth Social platform, the president called the treatments, quote, barbaric. The order comes just one day after President Trump signed another measure setting up a ban on transgender people from serving in the armed forces. We will take a quick break, and we will be right back with Eat Well Exchange to talk about thyroid cancer as well as thyroid awareness for this January Thyroid Awareness Month. We'll be right back. Good morning. We're back getting results for your health this morning. January is Thyroid Awareness Month, and so that's something we want to focus on this morning to get results for your health. So, with us once again from Eat Well Exchange, Jasmine Westbrooks and Ashley Carter. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
It's good to see you
Good
again.
morning. Yes, great to see you.
So, this morning we want to focus on thyroid awareness. But first, tell folks more about Eat Well Exchange if they haven't heard of it before.
Eat Well Exchange, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We teach communities how to eat healthy using cultural foods. So we do recipe development, hands-on cooking classes, gardening classes as well, locally and nationally to help you and your community eat healthier using foods that you grew up with and foods that you enjoy.
And you both have backgrounds in the medical field, right?
Absolutely. Yes, we've worked in different hospitals, different community clinics, different, even food service, how that relates to the medical industry and how it really helps impact and improve the health of patients in the hospital.
And when it comes to Thyroid Awareness Month, what are some of the main things people might not be as aware of when it comes to thyroid health? Because we talk a lot about, like yesterday, cancer rates are up among younger people, especially women, which is really troubling to hear. So things like thyroid awareness might be something that's just not just right in your back pocket as information to just expound upon. What are some of the things that you want to build awareness around with thyroid awareness?
So we'll start off with what the thyroid is. So the thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland in our neck. So it's going to help regulate our energy levels, our metabolism, and also our overall body functions. So it is connected to our heart health, also to our body weight and temperature regulation. So it has a very important job. And typically, women are more likely to be diagnosed with thyroid conditions than men. And a lot of times, I believe it's about 65% of thyroid conditions go undiagnosed because most people just don't know what to look out for. So some things will be weight changes. So whether you're losing weight rapidly or gaining weight and it's not connected to any other lifestyle factor. And also energy levels. If you're always tired, I know a lot of us need our coffee in the morning, but sometimes when you just notice that your energy levels are very low, even when you're eating very well, and also your temperature. If you're very hot when others around you are not, or if you're very cold, sometimes that could be an indicator of your thyroid not functioning properly.
I've heard many times about people spotting a possible problem with just even the appearance of the neck. Are there things that we can look out for with that?
Absolutely. And I can tell you from my own experience, I actually had, it's called a thyroid nodule, and it's pretty much like a nodule on the thyroid that's actually right below your Adam's apple or right in that lower part of your neck. And when I went to my primary doctor, they mentioned to me that, oh, you don't feel that? And they actually took my hand to feel it. And I was just going in for a physical. So I will say it's important. I know as adults, sometimes we don't think about going in and taking time off work or taking time aside to go to the doctor to actually get a physical every year, even for blood work, because there's ways that you can detect that there's thyroid conditions or problems even through your blood work with what they call the T3 and T4 hormone. And so those are other things that you can look at and ask your doctor about. But getting that physical, and when they start to kind of touch around your neck, to really try to detect if there's any type of abnormalities there that they feel, I think is very important. And for me, it really helped for me to have that actual physical because we noticed the nodule. They were able to drain it out, and that sample that they took was benign.
I think that you point out a good point about making sure you get those annuals in, and they will examine every nook and cranny, and they press all around everything. They're actually checking for different things around the thyroid, the lymphatic system, and like you said, those things are sometimes right under your nose, and you don't realize it literally.
Yes.
What are some things that we can do to promote thyroid health and promote, I guess some things might be more genetic marker for issues with the thyroid, but what are some of the things that we can control?
So when it comes to our dietary and lifestyle factors, anything that relates to our hormones is going to relate to our thyroid. So let's think about our sleep habits. That means if you're not going to bed early enough at night or waking up very early or not resting well. Also, physical activity. Whenever we move our body, so even without a gym membership, just working out in the morning, moving our body, dancing in the mirror, all of these things are going to help when it comes to our hormone balance regulation. But also, as registered dietitians, we have to talk about food. So, iodine rich foods, which will be like our seafood, seaweeds, and egg yolks, are going to be a good source of iodine, which can help with hypothyroidism, so when levels are low. Also, selenium. So, that's going to be found in fish, turkey, mushrooms, and also in Brazil nuts. And then zinc rich foods. So, foods that have zinc are going to include oysters, beans and legumes, seeds, and nuts. And all of these foods play a role in regulating our hormone levels and also helping with our thyroid function. But I do want to distinguish that there's hyper and
Yes.
hypothyroidism. So you want to make sure that when you have a lower thyroid, you're not consuming too, or you're consuming more of these foods I mentioned, and with hyperthyroid, consuming a little bit less.
That's very interesting too. What leads to hyper versus hypothyroidism?
So hyperthyroidism, oh, sorry. Go for it, Jazz. Sorry, I got excited.
so, so hyper and hypo, I definitely think a little bit of it is, and there's a lot of research to show that some of it can be genetic, some of it could be environmental factors, and some of it could be deficiency in iodine or overconsumption or over excessive amount of iodine. And so that's when you really have to figure out how to balance all these things. And I really think it's important, if you can, to see a dietitian, but also make sure that you're eating a balanced diet, because oftentimes, especially at the beginning of the year, we like to focus on overconsumption of only certain foods, but we really need a true balance of those foods. And so what Ashley actually mentioned was just making sure that you're having some form of high fiber carbohydrates, having some form of protein in its moderation, right? With the omega-3s, the seafood, the lentils, the beans. But then also making sure you're having those non-starchy vegetables too. That's going to include a lot of your different minerals that Ashley mentioned. So it's not about focusing only on one type of food. It's about sharing the plate with many different types of food so that you don't overconsume or underconsume.
Mm-hmm. And so, where can we go for some more information? Do you have recipes available or more resources?
Yes, so we're Eat Well Exchange on all social media platforms. We also have a YouTube channel where you and your family can cook along with us.
Mhm.
And we have recipes on our website as well, eatwellexchange.org.
Wonderful. Well, it's good to see you, ladies. Again, we really appreciate the helpful information here for Thyroid Awareness Month. Learned a lot this morning. Thanks.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. And speaking of which, healthy eating and eating well, we want to go to a package now for my co-anchor and insider guide, Crystal Moyer. With the start of 2025, you might be on that healthier journey in so many levels. And so meal prepping could be one way that could help you with saving money and time, as well as making healthier choices. And so it could sound a little challenging or hard to get started, but it doesn't have to be. We take a look at Consumer Reports' best tips to help you get started with meal prepping.
A visit to the doctor was a wake-up call for Raul Urbina.
He said that no, you need to just to change your diet drastically. Besides, you're getting weight, so your blood pressure has been compromised.
Raul found that meal prepping made it easier for him to eat healthier and also
saving money and time, and you're getting the benefits of being healthy.
To kick off successful meal prepping, Consumer Reports has some tips. Start by planning your meals for the whole week. Make a shopping list and shop in person, since some research shows you spend less when you shop in store versus online, but stick to your list. Another way to save, skip the name brands.
Consider buying supermarket brands or from discount stores. They can save you a lot of money. Plus, many store brands taste just as good or even better than the well-known brands.
Use a store loyalty card. Many grocery chains offer special deals and even let you earn rewards. And don't forget to check their shopping app for weekly sales and digital-only coupons to save even more. When you're ready to prepare your meals, the right tools in your kitchen can make the process faster and easier. Consumer Reports recommends this Cosori air fryer, perfect for tight counter spaces, and it's also super easy to clean and use.
An air fryer lets you bake, fry, or roast with little fat.
Yum.
It's perfect for quick meals like chicken, seafood, veggies.
I thought that cauliflower was chicken for a second. Who else? But anyway, Consumer Reports also suggest using multi-cookers like crock pots or your Instant Pot so you can make big batches of meals and then split that up and prep for the week for you and your family. We have all the recommended devices and air fryers and crock pots for you on clickorlando.com/insider. If you're not an insider yet, it is always free to sign up for that. We also have great giveaways and contests that pop up on Insider. So head over to clickorlando.com/insider right now to check it out. We also want to tell you about a scheme to watch out for. How many times a day are we scanning QR codes? Well, now it might be paying for a parking space or paying for your lunch. And so these QR codes, called quick response codes, are everywhere, but scanning the wrong one could be costly. So now you need to watch out for that too. So here's News 6 investigator Louis Bolden.
QR codes are convenient to use, but that convenience can come with a price.
They can be misused. They can absolutely be misused.
How are they being misused?
Lots of different ways.
Rob Allen is the Chief Product Officer for ThreatLocker.
Public places are an obvious and easy place for people to target.
The FTC has warned scammers hide links in QR codes to steal your information. There have been reports of bad guys replacing QR codes with a QR code of their own on parking meters. A scammer's QR code could take you to a spoofed site that looks real but isn't, and scammers could steal any information you enter. Or it could install malware to your device that steals your information before you realize it.
So I would say anything you see in a public place, whether it be a restaurant or paying for parking or anything like that, I would just assume don't use it.
Or at the very least, inspect the website thoroughly for things like misspellings. Also, be careful of QR codes in text messages and emails. The FTC says don't scan a code in an email or text you weren't expecting, especially if it urges you to act quickly. And protect your phone and accounts by updating your phone's operating system and protecting accounts with strong passwords and multi-factor authentication. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at lbolden@wkmg.com. Getting results, I'm Louis Bolden, News 6.
More good information. Thanks, Louis. News 6 is hitting the road soon to Ormond Beach, and so we'll take our newscast there in the afternoon live on a date and location very soon. And if there's a story you want us to tell in Ormond Beach, let us know. clickorlando.com/hitstheroad. That's going to do it for breakfast. We'll see you at lunch for News 6 at noon. Take care.